Now, it's no secret that the world around us has become more politically correct over the years. And with this, we've seen the rise of online censorship on nearly all platforms. But for a long time, gamers and the online gaming world were serving as a bastion for free speech, where you could get away with saying practically anything you wanted to, and more often than not, the people in your lobby would get a laugh out of it and shit talk right back at you. Now, I'm not going to pretend that people never crossed the line, but more often than not, it was all just in good fun, and you would throw a GG in the chat after the match, and occasionally you'd get the person you were shit talking on your team the next match, and suddenly you're best buds who are hating on the enemy team together. So, what happened to this aspect of online gaming and should it be brought back? For a long time, the only form of censorship we had in online gaming was user submitted reports that would sometimes, and that's a big emphasis on sometimes, be reviewed, and action would again only sometimes be taken against a player. This is for a variety of reasons. In general, the system wasn't as reliable. Also, people weren't as politically correct back then. Society in general wasn't as politically correct back then. So you had to say some like really vile stuff to get a voice chat ban back in these days. These were also the days of like absolutely crazy Call of Duty emblems. Like, man, some people were like Picasso with the COD emblem maker. Like, you could make some crazy stuff, and some people would cross the line. They would make some insane, like, absolutely racist emblems, and but there were also like a lot of just very artistic emblems. Some very nice ones, honestly. Myself personally, I think of this as the golden age of online gaming. So, because we had limited censorship, people felt comfortable talking, so it was very easy to get into a game where more than half of the people in the game had a mic. It was nice. You could always just find people to calm with. Online gaming is supposed to be a social experience, and personally, I feel like censorship has killed that just because people don't feel comfortable turning their mic on anymore because nowadays you can get a voice chat ban from just one game where your team submits fictitious reports against you.
Question remains, how do we get here? As you can probably tell by the title, we have Overwatch and Blizzard to blame for this. Now, Overwatch, while it wasn't the first game to implement an automated ban system, it was the first one to more heavily rely on AI techniques and machine learning, which, yeah, now, as you know, or you might know, that's kind of become the industry standard. Back in the days, it was more of a manual review, and this wasn't always reliable. You know, you wouldn't catch everyone that was being absolutely toxic and hateful online, but it would allow for people to not get mass reported and then just getting banned just because the team didn't like that they were telling them something. It wasn't a perfect system, I'll say that, but it's definitely better in my opinion than what we have now. Because nowadays you can't say anything. Like if your team doesn't like your voice, if your team doesn't like your accent, if your team just doesn't like you, they will voice chat ban you because your team's going to mass report you. I think that's the issue is we lean too heavily into the AI use. I think the manual review really needs to be brought back, but that's my thoughts on that. But anyways, the reason that Overwatch did all this is they were trying to curb toxicity within the game. And so over the years, they've fine-tuned it, they've worked on it, and that's what's gotten it to the point where we are now. Where, like I said, you can just get a ban just because your team doesn't like your voice, just because they all decided to mass report you. So this is an issue. And the reason it's an issue is, like I've mentioned before, now people don't want to turn on their mics. It used to be people felt free and comfortable to talk. Now people don't do that. All right? And this is kind of terrible because they did it to try and curb toxicity. Meanwhile, the people who get voice chat bans that actually deserve voice chat bans almost always have an alt account, and so they just go and play on their alt account now that Overwatch is free because of Overwatch 2. So you get what I mean? Basically, they destroyed the social aspect of the game in an attempt to curb toxicity, but the toxicity is still there. Like it's still toxic. And myself personally, I was never much of a shit talker online, so although my principles do favor free speech, I'm not really bothered by the lack of shit talking in gaming nowadays. However,
I am deeply bothered by the fact that the heavy-handed censorship has negatively affected the social aspect of online gaming and has greatly, and I do mean greatly, reduced the number of players getting in voice chat giving callouts. Like, how is it that as gaming headsets and microphones in general have become more affordable for the average Joe, we now have less people on microphones? It's insane. Now, I know Blizzard will never roll back their censorship of voice chat, but it would be nice to see them fine tune it and work on it so that players aren't afraid to mic up and give calls. But, I mean, this is Blizzard we're talking about, so we'll probably never see that, especially with other games like Valorant introducing automatic voice chat bans without a player report even being required. Yeah, it's crazy. They literally just listen in on your comms, and if you say something kind of deserving of a ban, they're just gonna voice chat ban you. But anyways, guys, what do you think? Should the level of censorship in place stay, or would you rather see them roll back some of their measures? Let me know in the comments down below. Take care.